first of all, congratulations on completing the 12-week program. It is quite an intense program in terms of there's weekly content there, there's conversations which are going on a weekly basis, and so you've been able to apply yourself really well in order to create that transformation, which we've seen across the 12 weeks. So would you mind just describing, Jeff, sort of where were you before you started the Maximise coaching program?
I'd start working kind of in like a locum role as an ERI, so I'd kind of go into places. I was pretty much just working, not kind of developing. So then I started getting kind of worried. I'm not going to see no like progression in my career. That's when I came across your kind of profile and stuff online, and then decided to give it a go. Kind of aligned with stuff that I kind of needed.
Yeah, and you said that you felt as though like you weren't sure about where your career was going. So what was your confidence level like at that time? Was it something that you thought about?
Yeah, I mean, confidence is definitely around then. Confidence was okay. The only thing I was struggling with confidence was in terms of career progression. We weren't necessarily confidence, but more like a worry. I'm like, okay, where do I go from here? I had that kind of worry, but that's kind of been resolved.
Great. And so in terms of that then, so what made you decide that you were going to invest in that point in the Maximise coaching program? What was it that made you go, okay, I'm going to invest in myself here?
Well, you got to invest in yourself. It's like, well, we've all been to do this kind of job, you got to go to university, and it's pretty much something similar to that. You're a lecturer. You kind of give that one-to-one contact time. It's more so you've been around and you've done this for a while. You sound like you're in a good position. So as what's it called? As a sports therapist or MSK clinician that's kind of still new to the field, I think it's only wise try and copy off you guys, get a cheat sheet, which is copy and paste, to a certain extent.
Yeah, great. And so obviously the program goes for quite a while in terms of the 12-week program. How did you feel about committing to 12 weeks?
Yeah, I was kind of fine with it in terms of, like I said, you've got to be hardworking. So this was kind of done outside of working full time, managing life, but we still managed to kind of do it every single week. And if you're going to sign up to something like this, it's a time thing. You got to put effort in. You got to put effort into these kind of things. If not, you're not going to kind of reap the rewards.
Yeah, definitely. And what was your approach then to like the weekly one-to-one calls? Like, how did you find them? What was the experience like of being coached on calls?
Well, I kind of treat it as work, so kind of made it mandatory to myself. Just like in any kind of workplace, you got to do your CPD and in your training at work. So, like I said, I kind of treated it like that, so it was easy for me in a sense. So yeah, that was kind of my approach. Take it as work. You got to do work. If you don't do work, you get fired.
I wouldn't have been firing you, but I've been chasing you up.
Yeah.
And so in terms of like the program then, so how did you said that you treated it a bit like work. So how did you fit it around like your schedule? Like if you've been working and you obviously got other commitments outside of being on the program. So how did you fit it in? How easy was it to fit in?
To me, like I said, it's important for me to look at kind of career progression. And that's something that I was looking at this year, ways I can kind of improve and kind of break that kind of ceiling. So this number one priority in my number one career kind of priority in my life for the past 12 weeks. So after each meeting, you'd kind of let me know, okay, when your availability is, and I'll look at your calendar and book it in straight away. As soon as it's booked in straight away, you kind of work other things around it. So I'd definitely say try and book it in straight off the bat after each meeting. If you kind of let it go, it's more likely other things kind of take place. If you are going to do this, make sure you kind of prioritize.
Yeah, great. And you found like the booking process of calls straightforward, which is obviously the link which you go through on the platform, and you can just book the calls at a time that suits you. So you found that or relatively straightforward?
Yeah, it's quite user friendly. I would say in terms of it's easy to use. But even if it wasn't, all like 1 or 2 times when I first used it, it was kind of, I had trouble with it. I just give you a message and you already kind of message back and kind of book me in. Or there's been times where I've booked in an appointment, but I've been busy. I've had to last minute reschedule. Just from a WhatsApp message, you was able to kind of resolve that issue.
Yeah, great stuff. And so the program has lots of different aspects to it in terms of it's got the core sort of curriculum. There's resources for a toolkit there. You've got your one-to-one calls. You've also got your community. So what do you think was the most valuable aspect for you in terms of helping you to achieve what you wanted to achieve?
Definitely that one-to-one time, getting the calls in, allowing me to kind of you kind of start asking these questions, and I'm like thinking like how to answer. I kind of go on a tangent, and that's like a new idea that I kind of present. Then you kind of question that, and then kind of makes you think. It just makes you think about what you can do, and then it's that live feedback that you get from you in that call. It's super duper important, because then it kind of bases my decisions off that going forward. Like overall, the course has got like loads of different kind of segments to it. Like I think that group chat's amazing, that you've got all like the FSK practitioners together. Like, so you've got like a wealth of knowledge there. So if you want to ask a question, you can answer it in there. So yeah, definitely the one-to-one calls I think is the most important for me.
Yeah, so I think that you utilised lots of different aspects of the platform as you went through, but definitely the calls you always turning up for on time, ready, notepad out. You'd already done the work from the previous week, or start to think about some of the action points, which really helped to move those conversations forward. And so in terms of one of the things that we spoke about, how you don't mind me saying this, was the attraction of opportunities and sort of where you could potentially go. So you just want to share what kind of new opportunities have presented themselves since you came on the program?
Yeah, so I'm currently working away from home. So one of the targets was to be more flexible and trying to get a job back home. Since starting the course, I've been able to kind of do that little by little by attracting these kind of opportunities. One of my opportunities would be either jobs or calls with people about jobs, or like just opportunities. I managed to get through one of your contacts an interview. I got 2 interviews actually at a clinic nearby in Manchester, that's where I'm from. So definitely like we've hit kind of the objectives, and like we kind of set the start of the course. Not only that we hit them, you've kind of shown me a way of how to keep hitting them, keep attracting the opportunity. Opportunity doesn't mean just like jobs or sorry, just jobs. It'd be like things like things to further progress your career. So it could be looking at study groups, it could be looking at CPD, it could be looking at like the business side of things. So if you're going into private kind of work, look at marketing, looking at like, for example, online rehab is something that people are getting into, like tele rehab. So you kind of explored that kind of option a little bit. Like I said, it's with Kristen, you kind of talk us through the points to kind of make yourself kind of believe you can do it anyways. So that's like the main thing.
I think one of your other aspects was actually that professional branding and professional image that you could put out there, which again attracts these opportunities. And so that was something that you sort of put yourself in for as well, which is like that sort of step outside your comfort zone that maybe you hadn't done before. And you've started to develop this online personal brand as well, which is a professional brand, which is excellent to see, because then you start to get all of these opportunities, interactions, and you don't necessarily know where they will head in the future. So that's really exciting. So sort of thinking about where you got to then by the end of the program, what do you think would have happened if we went back to before you started? What would have happened if you hadn't have taken on the coaching program?
I remember at the start of the video, start of our calls, I told you I was like this, and I've hit this point. I was just going like that all the way through. So I would have just continued doing that. Just work, go home, work, go home, that kind of stuff. I'd have, like I said, I've always been kind of looking for things to do, but I haven't had that kind of guidance in starting this new role. But yeah, so I would have just gone flatlined. But I'm sure something would have came in later on.
Yeah, no worries. And I think that's it. It's just trying to keep on progressing as you go.
Yeah.
I think that's what was great about when you came on the program, was that you're open to those ideas. You're open to, how can I progress myself? How can I take myself forward? And we talk about this growth mindset, which is looking at all the opportunities and seeing what there is out there for you to grow and develop. In terms of the program, then, is there anything on the program that you got which you didn't really expect?
In terms of, I was so there's a separate group. So for the people that are on the program, so like a separate sort of group where you can kind of get into and talk to people. So I thought that was quite niche, and thought that was quite cool. I wasn't really expecting that, but it's helpful. And within that group, we was kind of helping each other with kind of problems that we're facing in their work life. So that was quite cool and helpful. But overall, yeah, I thought it was a good course. I'm not gonna lie. I've got what I needed out of it, which is like the main thing when you do something like this. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I mentioned to you this in our last call that actually you're now part of my network. Like, I know you, you know me, and obviously I can introduce you to in different areas to different people. If there's someone who you might, or an area you want to go into, then I already know you now, so you're already part of my network, which is a great position to be in terms of building this professional network.
Definitely.
So my final question that I've got for you, Jeff, is that if you were going to tell a practitioner who was like hesitating about maybe being coached, what would you sort of tell them? What would be your message?
If they're like on the fence?
Yeah, if someone's on the fence or not quite sure whether they should go in for coaching and join a program.
I mean, give it a go. It might work for you. It might not. But then you never know if you don't do it. And if we kind of do it as we coach people through. So people kind of doing this course are kind of like coaches. We coach people through injuries that don't know what they're doing. So essentially, especially if you're like a young practitioner that's kind of inexperienced, I definitely think give coaching a go. Like I said, there's a wealth of knowledge that you can kind of pick into, and give it a go. It's helped me. That's all I can say. It's kind of given me some tools and work-ons to go forward. So I've definitely got things to do until the end of the year, to progress and get on with. So if you're kind of stuck with where you're at, I definitely think you should give it a go.
Yeah, some wise words there in terms of sort of getting out of that stuck phase and starting to make progress again. So, Jeff, all I say is thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on and obviously recording this and allowing us to then share it. So, and a final well done for completing the 12 weeks as well and knowing where you're now going.
Yeah, cheers, mate.